Hey guys, it was good. Triple J Boxing here. So I want to talk about the tickets, sales, and the pay-per-view numbers, and who's responsible for all of that. Who's been promoting the fight, who hasn't been as much. I'll get into all that. So I bring this up because Devin has been saying that the ticket sales were hurt by Ryan Garcia's antics, which I really can't see that being the case at all. Now, the only point he does have is maybe they were thinking that Ryan was going to pull out of the fight, maybe, because all the antics, you didn't know what was going on when it first started. So that made sense, I guess, but let's be honest here, though, guys. Without Ryan, this fight ain't selling any tickets, right? It wouldn't be a huge fight at all if Ryan wasn't involved. And the pay-per-view numbers would be trash. And, if Devin was fighting someone else, the tickets wouldn't be selling. Unless it was, Tank or I don't know, Terrence Crawford. He'd have to be fighting somebody with a name. And there's really that much. And to be honest, guys, even when Devin fought someone with a name on pay-per-view, first of all, I don't know why Pro Grade was on pay-per-view. That was just, I just can't believe that. I think that sold I don't even know the number, guys. It was 30,000 buys or something. I don't even know. Was that pay-per-view? I think it was, right? Which, that was just, shouldn't even been pay-per-view. The Lomachenko fight, I think it did 130,000 buys. With a guy like Lomachenko, too. And I know Lomachenko's not very... He doesn't really promote a fight either, to be honest, guys. And maybe that's why the fight didn't really do that good. In the sense that Devin and him share their names, but both of them don't promote a fight. And that's why he only got 130,000. When really, two guys like that should be doing 500,000, you would think. But that's not the case. And it's the same thing with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. That fight did, I think, 700. And that's kind of crazy to me because that fight was touted as one of the best or one of the biggest fights since Mayweather-Pacquiao, and it couldn't even do 1 million. And we were clamoring for it for years. So that just that just shows you that you got to be promotable. You can't just be a good fighter and expect to sell tickets and pay-per-views, right? Maybe you'll sell tickets, but you won't sell pay-per-views like that. And it's been proven. It's been proven, especially in today's day and age, it's harder to sell pay-per-views. There's not many fighters that can really sell, promote, not promote and do well on pay-per-view. You have to either be Mexican like Canelo, or you got to be like Manny Pacquiao to have the whole Philippines behind you. But then again, guys, these guys have really, especially Pacquiao, had a really flashy style, very aggressive, very offensive. He was indestructible in his prime. He was knocking everybody out, and he was very flashy. Canelo, obviously, he's got that Mexican fan base, and he was knocking out a lot of guys in a fan-friendly style. So those guys didn't really promote the fight in the sense that they didn't really trash talk or anything, but they had that going for them. If you're a fighting style like Devin, you even have more against you because not only are you not exciting in the sense that you're not very offensive, you're not knocking guys out. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, it's the sweet science and I love watching. Okay, yeah, we get that, but the casual fan don't want to see that, though. You know what I mean? We appreciate it. Some people appreciate it, but the general public wants to see like a Mike Tyson. They want to see a Manny Pacquiao. They want to see a Gennady Golovkin destroying people. A Canelo. Like they like seeing offensive-minded fighters. Like, and the fighters like that are defensive that have been successful. You could say Mayweather, right? But Mayweather did a lot more talking than Devin did, and I don't know, he had more personality, I would say. But yeah, so it's obviously it's a different era now. It's harder now, so I feel like you have to do even more to promote, and Devin just doesn't do that. So who's responsible for the pay-per-views being lower? If they are lower, it's Devin. And if the tickets weren't selling, I think it'd be Devin, to be honest. But I think the tickets will sell out. It's just, I don't know, the economy is bad, right? And like the fight, like I said, Devin, I guess, did have kind of a point that no one knew if Ryan was going to pull out. Because if Ryan pulls out, no one wants to see Devin fight anybody unless it was like a Tank. No one would want to see that fight. Everyone's coming to see Ryan. So in a sense, he is kind of right that, but now that we know the fight is happening and it's closer, people are going to be buying because they want to see Ryan, right? But yeah, guys. So if you look at the pay-per-view buys of Devin and you compare them to Ryan's only pay-per-view with Tank, obviously it's not even close to comparable, because Ryan and Tank did 1.3. But if you look at Tank's pay-per-views, which he's done quite a bit of pay-per-views, he averages 200,000. 200, 300,000 tops. And like with Ryan, he added 1 million onto his average. So that just shows you the promotability, that just shows you the pull that Ryan has on the pay-per-view buys, that he brought an extra 1 million to Gervonta Davis. Because Gervonta Davis was only getting like 200 to 300,000 for all his fights. The Rolly did a little bit more. I think it did like 370 or something. But all his other fights are from like 200,000 to 300,000. So that just shows you Ryan is obviously the A side when it comes to the actual marketability and the making money part, but the A side for the actual on paper and the champion, it is Devin Haney. So the split for this fight is 55-45, which for Ryan Garcia, he's getting more money, which makes sense because he brings in more money. If Devin wasn't a champion, it would be like lopsided. It would probably be like 80-20, right? But since Devin is the champion, and he's had a lot of success. He's fight Lomachenko, Kambosos twice. He's been more accomplished, right, on paper. So that's where his split was coming from. Because if he didn't have that kind of accomplishments, he wouldn't be even making close to the money he's making. Like he wouldn't have even 45% of the split. But yeah, guys. We'll see how the pay-per-view does. I think it's going to do real well, to be honest. I don't know why people are saying, I don't want to see this. This is garbage fight. Like, where are you coming from? Like, how are you not excited for this fight? Especially with Ryan's antics. You want to see like what Ryan shows up and how he does against an opponent like Devin Haney. He's only faced He's only faced one elite fighter in Tank, and he fell up short. But how is he going to do the second time around against a different style? So there's a bunch of intrigue here. How is Devin going to take the power of Ryan? And finally, Devin is fighting someone who's young and hungry like himself. He's not fighting an older, experienced fighter in Loma, even though I thought he lost to Loma. But when you're facing a guy who's hungry and young like Ryan, it's totally different than facing a Regis Pro grade who's past 30 years old. A Loma who's almost 40. Like, I know he's only like 35, 36, but still, like, these guys don't have the same hunger as a 25-year-old in Ryan. So it's going to be interesting, guys. Who's to blame if the tickets didn't sell or if the pay-per-views? It would be Devin, but I doubt that. I don't think all the tickets are going to sell. And I think the pay-per-view buys, I'm going to throw it out there, guys. I'm going to say it does 1 million. I'm going to say it does right on 1 million. Maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. I would be shocked if it did anything less than 700,000. Like, that would be a failure to me. Like, obviously that's still good, right? That would be Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence level if they did 700,000. But I feel like anything under 700 would, I just don't see how he'd do that. It's got to be doing more than that. And I know the economy is bad. A lot of people are just streaming it these days, but I'm going to buy it. I'm excited for it. But yeah, guys, I think it's going to do 1 million. And would it shock me if it did more than the Tank? I think it would be a little bit surprising because Tank does, like I said, Tank brings in 200,000 to 300,000 just by himself with nobodies, and Devin brings in like nothing. Like with Lomachenko, he couldn't even bring in a 200,000. So, and if Tank fought Lomachenko, he'd probably do, I don't know. See, Lomachenko, a lot of people don't even know him, the casual, so it's hard to say, but he would definitely do way more than 130,000 that Devin did. So I'm going to say right on 1 million it does. But if it's more than the Tank at more than 1.3, what Ryan did with Tank, that would be pretty darn good. And you gotta, if that was the case, it would all be because of Ryan's antics. Let's be honest here. You know it would be. There would be what other would be the external factor? What would be the X factor that would make it more than Tank Ryan numbers? It would have to be Ryan's antics. There's no other thing that would bring more intrigue and buys to the table. That would have to be it. So, yeah, guys. Let me know what you think about this. Oh, yeah, I got to talk about one more thing. I talked about it, I think, in another video, too, but you do have to give credit to Bill Haney. If it wasn't for Bill Haney, Devin Haney's father, he would have, barely any promotability. He wouldn't even, he would have nothing to the table besides his skills, right? Besides just being a good fighter. He would have nothing else to offer in the promotable, in the promotion aspect. Bill Haney is Devin Haney's, it's pretty much his promoter, right? He does a great job. He's funny. Bill's definitely a good, good for the sport, and definitely good for bringing, he's funny as fuck. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I'll give credit there. I don't know how much pay-per-view buys that Bill Haney would add. I assume it would add some. I don't know if it would add the casual, though, because the casual might not even know Bill Haney. But I think for the hardcore fan and for a boxing fan that actually tunes in regularly on a regular basis for boxing, they might buy it because of Bill, right? Bill does make it more intriguing. So I got to give some credit there, but Devin Haney himself, really, he just don't do enough to really sell it by himself. You know what I mean? He just don't. But anyway, guys, that's my thoughts on it. Go look at Devin Haney's pay-per-view numbers. I think the Regis Prograde was a pay-per-view, and it did really poorly. And it's weird because the DAZN subscription and I don't even have a DAZN subscription, to be honest. I didn't know. I went to buy a fight once, and then you had to subscribe, and I ended up not doing it. I forget what happened, but I ended up just streaming it. So I don't know exactly how the pay-per-view buys work with DAZN. But I know his numbers were pretty poor, and the Lomachenko fight was his best pay-per-view numbers, and it only did 130,000. So, and Ryan Garcia, his only pay-per-view did 1.3, but that's with Tank. So, but I do feel like Ryan Garcia, without Ryan Garcia, Tank would never reach that kind of number. So, you got to give credit there. But anyway, guys, Triple J Boxing. Let me know what you think. Who is to blame for... I'm not even going to say to blame, because I think it was all just bullshit, to be honest. I think all the tickets are going to sell, and it's going to sell out. Pay-per-view buys are going to be good. I think what my question is to you guys, who is promoting this fight? Who is what do you call it? What's that word I'm looking for? Who is carrying the promotion, guys? Is it Devin or is it Ryan? And let me know your thoughts. This is Triple J Boxing. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.